If you are a female or you have females in your life, you should watch this episode till the end, because in this episode I am going to break down female menstrual cycle in the easiest manner possible, so that you can understand when your body is ready to push a little harder and when are the times when you should take a step back and let just flow with your body. Okay, there are phases in the menstrual cycle where you would be stronger, where you could push a little harder, where your mood, energy levels, everything would be super high and you could break your personal records in those phases. But there is also a phase in your menstrual cycle where you should take a step back, and no matter how hard you push, you might not drop as much weight as you should or you could in the earlier phases. This is a phase where you are not doing anything wrong. It is just that there are a lot of things going on inside your body, and that is just making the weight not go in the direction that you want to. But that does not mean you are not dropping fat. To understand all of these and to understand your body better, or even if you are a coach, just start taking notes, because this is going to be a game changer episode for all of the females and people who work with females or have females in their lives whom they want to support and get them transformed. Because everything that happens with our body is either going to help us transform, or it is going to hold us back from transforming and getting us into the best shape, health and performance of our life. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. As always, Vinay here, lecturer of exercise science at National Strength and Conditioning Association India, a body transformation and a performance coach, here to make your transformation and performance journey easier, faster and enjoyable. And in today's episode, let us discuss about the menstrual cycle in females and how does it affect their transformation journeys. So the menstrual cycle is basically the period of like 28 days on an average, where the body prepares itself, the female body of course, the body prepares itself to be ready for pregnancy. And if the body does not get pregnant, or if the female does not get pregnant, then again remove all of the waste, remove everything, that the resources and all of the structures that the body had built in order to be ready for pregnancy via the menstrual days and the periods which are so called. In those days, just clears out everything, and then the next cycle begins. The body creates or makes an environment inside itself to make it ready for pregnancy. That is what actually periods is. Okay, it is just a process in your body that is making you ready for pregnancy. Okay, that's what. So the entire 28 days is an average length. Sometimes it could be slightly lower or it could be slightly longer. Okay, that depends. It is not a actual number where 28 would mean 28 itself. Sometimes it would be a little shorter, sometimes it could be a little longer. Anything around 21 to 35 days is a normal length of a period cycle. Okay, but if you have slightly longer or slightly lesser than this, that could also be fine, but there should not be a very large distance. If there is a longer distance or your cycle lasts for more than 35 days, more than 40-45 days and beyond, there could be some things that you could improve upon and bring it down to the normal and the most optimal lengths. Okay, so when we talk about the menstrual cycle is divided into two phases. That's it. Okay, first half of the menstrual cycle is called as the follicular phase. The second half of the menstrual cycle is called as the luteal phase. Okay, what are these phases? Why do these happen? What happens in these phases? What are the hormones that goes up, and what it actually creates or it actually seems in our body, or what we actually should do in these phases is what we are going to discuss ahead. Okay, so just like I told you at the start of the episode, there are phases where we could push our body a little more. There are phases where we could just step back and just let the body do whatever it does. Okay, so whenever the menstrual cycle starts from day 1 of bleeding. When the periods actually start, when you actually start to bleed, that is the day 1 of your menstrual cycle. That is the day 1 of the follicular phase. This phase where you are bleeding is also called as menstruation, or also called as periods in simple terms. Okay, this lasts for somewhere around 5 days on an average. It could be somewhere around 7 days, it could be somewhere around 3 days as well. Okay, longer than this and shorter than this may not be usual, and if it is in your case, then there are chances that you should be looking at things and get things sorted in order to get things back to more optimal phases. Okay, so during these first 5 days, what is actually happening is the body had prepared itself for pregnancy, and the egg was matured and it was there in the system, and it did not fertilize. So the body just removes everything that it had created so that it could start afresh and again get ready for the pregnancy ahead. That is what the period cycle actually is. Okay, so after the first 5 days of the menstruation, this is the golden period for all of the females. This is the period where you have the best energy levels, the best control over your mood, the best control over your hunger, cravings, everything. Your appetite regulation is very amazing. You do not crave for a lot of sweets, a lot of food, and everything. Sticking to the diet becomes a lot easier. You are very, very strong in this phase of your menstrual cycle. The follicular phase post the menstruation is the golden phase for you. Okay, in this phase, what actually happens is your hypothalamus, there's a small part of your brain that triggers the pituitary gland. This is also one of the small part in your brain. Hypothalamus triggers the pituitary gland to release an hormone called as FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. What this hormone does is it signals the ovaries to create sacs, or called as follicles. Okay, these follicles are nothing but immature eggs, and out of these immature eggs there would be one matured egg that would be released into the ovaries during the ovulation. Okay, but now, for now, we are into the follicle phase. Menstruation has gone. After the menstruation, we still have follicular phase start from day 1 and lasts to somewhere around first half of the cycle, somewhere around 14 days. Okay, so FSH is triggered, ovaries develop follicles, and that is what is happening. By this, after the first half, means after the menstruation has ended, that means first 5 days have gone, then there is slight increase in estrogen because of the follicle that are developed. Okay, after this, as the follicles have now developed, and this triggers hormone called as estrogen, where females are estrogen dominant beings, and follicular phase is also an estrogen hormone dominant phase. Okay, so there is slight increase in estrogen, and increase in estrogen just goes on till the ovulation. Okay, that is why all of the parameters, we could say, in the human body or in the female body very specifically, the hunger levels, the glycemic control, that means the insulin sensitivity, hunger, strength levels, energy levels, mood, everything is very, very stable, and you are in much better control of yourself in this phase. Okay, estrogen keeps on going up. Then there is also a slight rise in hormone called as testosterone, which is generally linked with the men, but even females have this hormones, and that is why the strength levels and everything just goes on increasing in this follicular phase. Okay, you are not gonna store a lot of water in the system. That's why the weight might seem that it is going down very, very fast. A lot of our female clients drop somewhere around a kg and a half each every during the follicular phase in their menstrual cycle. Okay, so this is what is happening through the follicular phase. This is the time where you could capitalize a lot and get a lot of things done. Okay, by the end of the follicular phase, that means around day 14, there is a phase called as ovulation. This is somewhere around a 24-hour window. In this ovulation, what actually happens is the follicles that were developed in the follicular phase, out of all of the follicles, one follicle just matures. There is a release of one matured egg from the ovaries via the fallopian tube. But all of these things are slightly detailed. So from the fallopian tube into the uterus, so that it could be fertilized. Okay, and during these phase, the uterine walls, that means the walls of the uterus, are again strengthened so that it could support pregnancy in case it happens. So if you are a female who is looking to get pregnant, this is the golden period for you, and this is the time when you could capitalize on and you could have a happy and a healthy pregnancy. This is the phase where the body is most fertile because it has a matured egg in the uterus. Okay, when this happens, this is just at day 14th of your menstrual cycle in an ideal scenario, okay, or anyway midway in the menstrual cycle, okay. This is where the egg is released and the chances of getting pregnant are the highest, okay. When this happens, there is also a release of hormone called as LH, which is called as luteinizing hormone. This luteinizing hormone releases or triggers the release of the egg from the fallopian tube to the uterus, okay. Here the testosterone levels are at its peak into means as compared to the rest of the cycle. Also testosterone, estrogen are at its peak. That's why all of the parameters are at its best. This is the best time for pregnancy, just like we discussed. And going ahead from here, the remaining follicles gets turned into a structure called as corpus luteum. Corpus luteum also triggers the next phase of the menstrual cycle, that is called as the luteal phase. Luteal phase is the second half of the menstrual cycle. First 14 days follicular phase, where the body was preparing itself for pregnancy. The second half of the menstrual cycle is called as the luteal phase. This happens just after the ovulation, where an egg is released in the uterus and the uterine walls. This LH also prepares the uterus, thickens the uterus walls, so that the pregnancy could be happier and a healthier one, and the follicles gets converted into corpus luteum. This corpus luteum again starts to the next phase of the menstrual cycle, and what this corpus luteum does is it triggers a hormone called as progesterone, where the luteal phase is progesterone dominant phase. What this hormone progesterone does is it prepares the body so that the pregnancy could be happier and healthier, okay. This corpus luteum triggers progesterone. Progesterone stimulates an hormone called as aldosterone. This is the hormone that makes the transformation journeys a slightly challenging ones, and it makes things slightly difficult for you, okay. So when after the ovulation, what happens is estrogen, testosterone, both of these hormones starts dropping slightly and progesterone starts rising, okay. So for the first half of the luteal phase, you might not even notice a lot of differences, but the most challenging part for females would be the last phase of the luteal phase. Last phase of the luteal phase means last 5 to 7 days of the luteal phase, which means last 5 to 7 days before the next menstruation, before the next periods start. This is a phase where progesterone is at its peak and aldosterone is released. The body retains or holds some water in the body. Here what also happens is the mood swings are slightly there because you are not in the best control of yourself. There could be slight rise in hunger and craving response. The insulin sensitivity is slightly down. You would be more hungry more frequently. You would be craving for a lot of sweet or salty foods. The energy levels or the feeling of you to push yourself even more into your workouts and breaking your own personal records and everything might not be that high. There could be energy deficit. Sometimes you would be feeling a lot of energy, and sometimes you would be feeling a lot low on the energy, and this is absolutely normal, okay. But not every female faces or has the same symptoms, okay. I have seen females who were in their second half of the luteal phase or even during menstruation, they are still working out, not having any or very less amount of issues. They are still doing their leg days and everything is running smoothly for them. Although there were a little bit of cravings here and there, energy levels were slightly low, moods were slightly up or low, but there haven't been a lot of discomfort, a lot of uncomfortable periods and things like that, okay. Where I have also seen females who were in their menstruation phase and they were having a lot of problem. It was a lot uncomfortable. They had to take a day off from their office and everything. They had to take painkillers to keep the pain and everything away. But this is not normal, my friends, okay. This does not have to be there, okay. A healthy menstrual cycle does not have to be very uncomfortable, where you have to take days off from your office, where you have to take painkillers and everything to get rid of the pain and everything. If this is happening with you, you need a fix. You need to fix these things, okay. The females that we were working with who had these symptoms got them fixed in like first 6 weeks of our transformation journey, and they are away from like painkillers and they are in a much better, they have a much regular period cycle. They Some of the females also have been pregnant and everything. So a lot amazing things could happen if we understand our body well. So slightly off topic, but yes, when we are into the last phase of the luteal phase of our cycle, last 5 to 7 days could be slightly challenging, because here what is happening is the estrogen and testosterone both are at its lowest point throughout the entire period cycle. Progesterone is high, and when the body notices that the egg hasn't been fertilized, what the body does is it just clears out the entire corpus luteum. It clears out the thickened uterine wall. That means the walls of the uterus were thickened to support pregnancy. All of those things, the egg did not fertilize, so there is no use of all of these things, so the body would just flush it out. And that is what your menstruation actually is. That is what the periods actually are. The next 5 days of your next cycle, or the next 5 days, which is the start to a new cycle, is just the clearing out of all of these things, so that the body could have fresh egg in there, could have a freshly prepared uterine walls to support pregnancy and everything. And that is what the menstruation actually is. Okay, which is the golden phase where you could push yourself a lot harder, where you would be seeing a lot of results, where your body would be ready to push itself, where your hungers and cravings would be low, would be the second half of your follicular phase, or just after the menstruation has been over. Okay, that would be the phase where we could capitalize a lot. Okay, then again, which would be the phase that would be the most challenging one? Would be the last 5 to 7 days of your menstrual cycle. Here, sometimes what happens is a lot of females push a lot harder throughout their transformation journeys, and this is the phase, last 5 to 7 days, where their emotional regulation is also not at its best. Okay, here they retain a little bit of water, and what they think is, yaar, I'm doing everything right, still the weight is not going down, or on some days the weight even goes up. Okay, this happens. I've seen this happen a lot of time. Okay, and then the females start getting frustrated. They start getting disappointed that I'm doing everything right, still I'm not losing weight. What is happening? What is happening? And then sometimes they get frustrated, they get disappointed, and then they quit altogether. Okay, but the females that work with us, we just explain them what is actually happening with their body, and they'll notice a very significant drop in weight just on the first day of their periods, or if not during the menstruation, or if not at that time, the first week of the follicular phase after the menstruation is done. They are like mind blown. They have like dropped like a kg and a half, 2 kgs, or things like that. Because what has happened is, your body will not store a lot of fat. What has happened is, due to the rise in the hormone called as aldosterone, the body has just held slightly extra water, because it wants to keep the body ready for pregnancy. Okay, that's why the body has held a little bit of water along with a lot of nutrients, so that in case of pregnancy it could fuel itself and you would not face a lot of problem. So this is just a phase where we have to understand our body. Okay, give it a little bit of time. The body is not doing anything to harm you, or to make you look bad, or to make you look bloated, or to do anything bad with you. It is just helping you support. It is just helping you support a healthier pregnancy. It is just helping you so that you would not face a lot of problem if anything happens. Okay, so that is what. This is the phase where we have to be a little cautious. We have to be aware about all of the symptoms that the body is showing, and we have to just go with the flow. We have to just work with the body. Here, the body temperature is also slightly high in the luteal phase, or especially during before the next menstruation cycle actually begins. During the entire luteal phase, the average body temperature is slightly higher. That is how the watches detect menstruation cycle and everything. Okay, there are watches that have the body temperature measure or sensor as well. That body temperature, if the average body temperature is high, that would mean that we have shifted to the luteal phase, and then according to the changes, it could also somehow detect that these are the days where you would be menstruating. Okay, that is what. Apart from that, during the luteal phase, the BMR is also slightly high because of the body temperature being high here, which also means that the body would be burning a slightly more amount of calories during the luteal phase. That is the second half of the menstrual cycle. So here, even if you are craving a little bit of food here and there, and even if you eat sometime, your body might burn it off. Okay, that does not mean that you should give yourself a grace and eat a full cake and everything and eat burgers and pizzas and chips and everything. But if you don't eat, if you stick to the nutrition plan in the luteal phase, your basal metabolic rate is high, you might regain a little bit of weight due to water retention. But if you stick to the nutrition plan throughout this phase, when you enter into the menstruation phase, when you enter into the follicular phase, you would observe a significant drop in your body fat and also body weight. So stay strong, no matter, work with your body, understand your body a little better. If you're craving for something, you can have it, but control the quantities, communicate with your coach. Your coach might have amazing options where your taste buds would be happy and so would be your body. Okay. It is not compulsory to eat like a 500 calorie desserts all of the time. You can eat, we help our clients with a lot of low calorie sweets and everything as well, that makes their taste buds and their soul happy without them going in the reverse in their transformation journeys. So that is how we have to deal with our body, work with it and not against it. And that is how we make sure that the body gets amazing results, okay, without we getting disappointed or frustrated when things are not going our way. That is how the menstruation cycle actually works. That is how we should understand, or we could understand the signs and symptoms of our body, and we could predict that this would be the good phase for me and the weight is about to go down, it is meant to go down. This would be slightly challenging phase where I'll have to push through, I'll have to be a little more cautious, and even if the weight does not go down, I should not be frustrated or disappointed and not give up, the most common mistake that majority of them do. Okay, and what if your menstruation cycles are not regular? Irregular menstruation cycle could be because of a lot of reason. PCOS is one of the major reason why polycystic ovarian syndrome is one of the major reason behind irregular menstruation cycle. This is rising a lot. Out of every 5 female clients we work with, 3 of them are coming with either PCOS, hormonal imbalances, irregular periods and everything. This could be because of a lot of nutrient deficiencies, unmanaged stress, very sedentary lifestyle, no activity throughout the day, lack of exercise, lack of nutritious food, lack of sleep. A lot of those things could contribute to missed period cycle or irregular period cycle, or the signs and symptoms of a lot of acne, hair fall and things like that. Okay, so the best thing what we should do is to again go back, reflect upon ourselves, look at, are we eating better, are we doing some physical activity throughout the day, are we managing our stress well, are we sleeping on time, are we drinking enough water, are our nutrient profile via the blood reports on point, all of the nutrients in our body are sufficient before taking any hormone control medications from your gynecologist. Okay, taking the hormone control regulation or medication is the worst thing that you can do, my friend. Okay, if you are in the final phase, that means you have been having these symptoms from like 5-10 years and you have to get pregnant in a small period of time, then there are chances that you might go on to your gynecologist and look out for some expert help and advice. But what we have seen is, we have had a client from Hyderabad like a year and a half back, and both of them, the couple was training with us, was working with us. The female was suffering from PCOS, had very irregular menstrual cycle, and just like on the new year we had a talk, and she had a baby before that somewhere around Diwali and everything, and everything was good. We fixed her nutrition, we fixed her nutrient deficiencies, we fixed her exercise routine, activity, stress management, we fixed these things for both of them, the entire couple, and they were able to conceive a baby. They have a very happy and a healthy pregnancy, and even the kid is very healthy now. Okay, we are going to restart again after the second trimester and everything. She's just recovering from the pregnancy and a lot of those things. So that is what, my friend. Okay, you don't always need medications. You are anyways doing a lot of things that are still in your control before going on to the medication wala route. Okay, if you need help with any of these, just drop me a text. I would be very happy to help you out. That was about today's episode, my friend. I hope you learned something valuable. I hope this added something new to your think tank, and as a coach, this added some value to your life and some tools in your coaching toolbox. If you like this episode, make sure you drop a comment and let me know what was the best thing that you found out about this episode, and share it with someone who could benefit from this. Also, don't forget to drop a like. As always, Vinay here, signing off, and see you for the next one. Bye.